All right. Hello, Facebook. We are here. The big night has finally come. We are at our final tribal council of our sixth season, Four Nations, and we have our final three in Hart, Lizzie, and Frank, who are here to plead their cases to the jury after a long and strenuous season, I might add. The three of them will each give an opening statement. They'll have about 6 minutes. Each juror will come on, say their piece, quick closing statements, and then we will get to a vote and return live later this evening to announce the winner. So, as the winner of our final immunity challenge, Hart got to choose the order in which everyone will go, and I believe the order was Frank, Lizzie, Hart, correct? Okay, so Frank, you are going to be going first with your opening statement. And whenever you're ready, you may begin. You have 6 minutes. I'll time you. I won't be super mean about it, but don't abuse the system. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say thank you, hosts, and thank you, fellow Final Three and jury members. This has been a fun, great game. It's been a stressful game, but it's been a top tier game, in my opinion. This cast was stacked, and I had a blast playing it. To sum up my game, I think you can sum it up with one word, and that's relationships. Throughout this game, I focused on building my relationships throughout the game. On 1.0, my Earth tribe, I built a strong relationship with Zach, Ryan, and Jake. And we were only there for a few rounds, but I had a really good connection with those three going in further in the game. Going on to 2.0, I really had to take a back seat and hope that people were willing to save me. I was in trouble that round, and Haley wanted to vote me out, and Max, Amber, and Ingrid ultimately chose to save me and chose to vote with me and Ryan. And while I was on that tribe, I built my relationship strong with Max and Amber. And something that I took pride in is that I reached out to Hyrie and rebuilt that relationship, asked him why he felt like I needed to be the target. And I felt like we repaired our relationship, and paid dividends moving on later in the merge. Going on to the 3.0, I swapped with Max and Amber, and I just continued to work closely with them. And that's when I met up with Hart, Tony, Jay for the first time in the game. And I really connected with Hart. I I know who Hart was or is before this game. We played one game briefly before this, but we've never really played before. And we were on a tribe probably like a round in, and we made the promise of being ride or dies. And I held on to that. He held on to that, and that's why we're here. Um, I stayed really close with Max and Amber. Amber was super close with Max, and I was super close with Amber. So I really put effort into that relationship. And Tony and I have been friends for years. We've never played together before, and he's hosted me 4 times. So I know he was excited and nervous to play with me all at the same time. So I made sure I tried to put extra effort into that relationship and made sure that the worries about me making the move on him too soon were not there. Going into the merge. So the merge round was wild, and uh Costa ultimately ended up being the vote. And that was my preference before Nick even quit. Me and Tony had a conversation, and we were talked about doing Costa before Nick even quit. So ultimately, when Nick quit, we made it found it a lot easier going that route. So right around the merge, uh, I started to expand my relationships, and one thing my relationships came with was loyalty and information. And I used that information throughout the game when it was able for me when I was ready to make a move. So I had information that Ingrid had an idol from Ryan. I had information that Tony had a advantage from Max. I know Lizzie had the half idol from Tony. I knew about Hyrie and Max having that advantage before Max even got voted out, that they were working on trying to get to advantage. I knew about Hart's advantage and also Amber's advantage. I did not know about Jake's. And obviously I did not know about Zach's avatar. But with the information, I kept it to myself until it was valuable for me to use it throughout the game. I one example I did was when I was ready to separate from Max, right around after the Zach vote, I went to Tony and said, hey, just so you know, Max told me about you having an advantage. And Tony denied it at first. And I just kind of gave him more information about it, and it pissed Tony off. And I made sure that I told him that. And then eventually Tony spilled the beans on what the advantage was and all that. That there was to build some mistrust with him and Max, because ultimately, if I was going to make a move against Max, I needed Tony's backing in that situation, because I knew Amber was not going to be willing to make that vote. Um, at the merge, I think the one mistake I made throughout this game was the final 12 round, the split round. And ultimately, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to blow up my positioning within the game. But I did cave because Max had immunity and Ryan was on board. So I ultimately went with that route, and Zach ended up having the avatar, and Mark ended up going home that round. Which also I built out a lot too. We had great conversations about past games that I forgot we even played. And so throughout my game, I didn't make flashy idol plays. I didn't win a bunch of immunities, but I kept my relationship strong. I kept my information uptight, and I used it to help maneuver throughout the game. And I made sure that the people that was at the end game was the people I wanted to. At final 10, I made two crucial moves, or one crucial move, where I had to sell Ryan out there. And I feel a little bad because we were close allies, but ultimately I didn't want all my allies to use advantages to save Ryan, which Max wanted to do. He wanted to draw a line in the sand. That was not good for my game because I wanted to work with some of those people on the other side. So I was willing to sell Ryan up there so that way my allies kept their advantages to help me later on in the game, which Tony did, which Hart ultimately tried to do, and ended up falling on me anyways. And which Amber probably would have did if she didn't realize it expired at 7 instead of 6. And Ryan had to went home there. And then at final 9, I went head to head with one of the biggest players of the season, that's Zach. And at final 8, I went to head with one of the biggest players of the season, that's Max. They both were targeting me. I knew they were targeting me. And ultimately, I came out on top of both those battles. And that was because of my relationships without the game and the information I had on them. One of those relationships that helped me throughout the merge later half was Lizzie. So I knew Lizzie.
20 seconds left, Frank.
Okay. I played with Lizzie, and she gave me a lot of information. She protected me throughout some of the votes. I kept my end of the bargain, and she's the one who told me that Max was coming for me. And that's how I used that to vote out. I was on the right side of every vote. I didn't need immunities. I didn't need advantages. I just needed my social and my strategic mind to get me here.
All right, thank you. I believe next we have Lizzie. Okay, Lizzie, whenever you are ready.
Waiting on Frank.
She wants you to turn your camera off, Frank.
Okay. Hi, y'all. What's up? It's Lizzie. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the hosts for casting me. As soon as the theme was announced, I immediately ran to Gabe and messaged him and was like, I want to play, please cast me. I'm kind of desperate, honestly, a little gross, but it's fine. Thank you to my final 3. I think it's really fun. They voted all of us as most likely to be a 0 vote finalist, and we can't all be 0 vote finalists now. And thank you to the jury for such an amazing game. I think this has, and I've said it before, this has felt like truly an all-stars cast, and it's been just such an honor to play with each and every one of you. I normally don't write speeches, but I really, really care about this. So I wrote a speech because I really care. I'm trying to be serious for once. I know I joke around a lot. So here we go. I've decided to lean into the whole Avatar theme, with me being the last airbender and all. So that's how I'm going to talk about my game. In this game, I maintained harmony, connected the physical and spiritual world, and I ultimately went to war when necessary. When it came to keeping harmony, the obvious example is me trying to manage Jake and Hyries going at it with each other, and even Nick and Max earlier, right when merge started. But I argue that the most important thing that I did in keeping harmony was have a willingness to work with anyone in this game. Unfortunately, orgs have a history of friend-viber. Previous relationships kind of take over. But in this game, they honestly meant nothing to me. I went against my dear friend Max, who obviously I adore. I repaired an absolutely broken relationship with Jake to the point where he thought I literally hated him. And he's made me cry before. So, and we went to working together, and I made brand new connections with people such as like Nick, Costa, Zach, and Kyrie in this game. I also made an effort to work with people from different starting tribes and just different tribes in general. An example of this is on our 2.0 tribe when Nick, Zach, Tony, and myself formed an alliance across 3 original tribes. And when we went to tribal, rather than me suggesting Hurt, which would have been easy because the rest were all air tribe, I purposely threw out Abu's name. I said it in front of everybody in order to show good faith in working with new people and not sticking to my original tribe lines. At merge, I kept my options open, trying to work with people that I hadn't voted with, such as Max. I was always trying to like communicate with Max. Amber, I tried to get Amber in with me to make votes against Max, even Frank, like anyone. I was like, girl, like, let's do it. Like, no one will see it coming. And Jay, even after me trying to vote out Jay, I did some damage control and said, listen, I'm still open to working with you. I never shut anyone out. And I succeeded in that with Frank and Hurt. I think we had been voting against each other, but I was able to make connections and relationships with them and even have an alliance together with them. And it was due to my openness and my adaptability that I'm here. Next, I linked the physical and spiritual world. It was no surprise when I got voted most likely to play emotionally and not strategically. But I believe that the two are not mutually exclusive. You can play both emotionally and strategically. I don't think they're separate. While some may say that I was too stubborn at times, I'm sure Max would say that on votes, but it was strategic too. It wasn't just because I liked that person a lot. I believed that everyone had a time and place when they were to go, and sometimes it wasn't their time. And I also did that so that when people worked with me, they felt like they could trust me because I was going out for people saying, I won't vote for this person. So when people are working with me, they're like, oh shit, I trust Lizzie. Like, she's not going to go for me. Even like before I voted them out or before I was part of their vote offs, they were saying, Lizzie, I trust you so much. While I am emotional, I believe that I was translating it into passion. I was so excited to play this game and even more invigorated by the caliber of players. So yes, I'd get excited at tribal and I'd just blabber and talk way too much, or I'd spend like 30 minutes researching how to do dots and boxes strategically. But it was because that I'm just so happy to be here. I even made choices that I knew weren't technically the best and people could see them as mistakes, such as playing that double idol with Jake that round. But I felt that we shouldn't play it. However, I thought it was important to form that bond with Jake, so I did it anyways. Finally, I went to war. The very first merge vote, I went to bat for Costa, even if I was going to be the only one. I looked Max in the eye and said, I am not voting Costa out. I don't care if I'm by myself, I'm not doing it. But it was to show people where I stood. And it was also because I had just lost Nick and I wanted people to feel that I was somebody that they could grab on up. And I mean, it worked. I was part of the Tony, Hyrie, and even Jake vote offs, despite working with them. And honestly, I would have been part of the Zach one too. Had I had the opportunity. And I believe that I played a large part in the Max vote off. On call, I assured Max that the vote was on. Lizzie. I'm sorry?
30 seconds.
Okay. I assured Max that I assured Max that the vote was on Frank in order to prevent him from using a possible idol. He believed me despite an earlier conversation where I pointed out that I've evolved as a player in the last 3 years and do lie now when necessary. In this game, I never gave up when my number one quit. I was on the wrong side of the merge vote, and more people that were with me left the game. I kept info to my benefit, such as Zach's avatar advantage. I was the only person in the game to know about that, and I never spilled it to anybody. I knew about Tony's safety without power. I knew about Amber's steal vote. I knew about Jake's half idol, and I knew about Hyrie and Max working together on that map. And still, I kept it to myself and used it only if I needed to. I am the last woman standing. I am the last of my 3.0 tribe, and I am the last air defender. And I'm so excited to answer your questions and hopefully convince you guys why you should vote me to represent the season. Thank you.
All right, awesome job, Lizzie. Finally, Hart, take us home. Well, take us home of the beginning.
So coming into orgs, how would people describe Hart? I've been here for 3 years. People describe me as loud. People describe me as opinionated. People would describe me as someone who always tries to get their way in any way possible whenever a round is going on. And I told myself, I have to come in here and play differently, because every time that I've done that, I failed. So I need to try something new here. And that is exactly what I needed to do in order not just to, like, for myself in my own personal game, but for the mechanics of how this game worked. And I'll explain that. Coming into this game, obviously, I went to my 2.0 from water. My closest ally was Haley. She was voted off on like day 6 or 7. So I'm sitting here having to make new allies, and I got into an alliance with Zach and Tony, which I felt good about, but I will be honest and I say I could easily tell after Abdus I was going to go on that tribe. People can bullshit and say that I was not. I knew I was going to go there because those 3 airs were going to write my name down if we win again. It was obvious. Going over to 3.0, again, I lose almost everybody. I have Mark and Tony, who easily, I could tell were close. I don't know why they were close, but they were close. And I got on a call with Amber. The first thing she told me, I want you to know my ride or die is Max. And I'm extremely close with Tony. So I'm sitting here. Who the hell can I work with in this game? And that's when I called Frank. I called Frank and I said, I want to make a ride or die because we're having good conversations. I trust you. Let's do this. He hopped right on board with that. On 3.0, that's when the yellow tribe that doesn't suck alliance was made, which was a reference to Lulu from Survivor 45. That was myself, Frank, Amber, Max, Tony, and Mark. And that was the alliance that literally controlled the entire strategic portion of this game. So going into the merge, after Nick quit, Casa's name was thrown out there, and really quickly, I started to hear traction of Mark, and I'm like, this cannot happen. I need my alliance to stay strong here, and we did. We were able to get out Casa there, and we were able to go in to 12 with 6 strong. Then we demerged, and this is where my game started to be like, okay, what am I going to do here? So Max and Kundi, it was very, very obvious that they were close. I was driving back from Dallas, took a little nap, woke up, and apparently Cunliffe already pre-voted Zach. What is happening here? And I'm like, why are people pre-voting and no one's talking to me here? So what did I do here? I had a relationship with Zach, I had a relationship with Frank, I had a relationship with Max. So what did I do? Everyone's like, oh, he has a super idol. It's got to be a super idol. He has it. Okay, well, then I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to go vote with Zach. And if he has that, then he's going to be able to trust me. And then I told Frank and Max, this is what I'm doing, just so y'all know. So after Mark went on in that vote, this side trusted me. This side started to trust me because I didn't vote out Zach, and everybody was giving me information. That was the pivotal move for me in this game because it built trust around the clock. So what ended up happening in this game too was that this is what I like to call big move-itis. A lot of people wanted to make these big game-changing moves so quickly in the game, almost to the extent of what the correct move was. And I'm sitting back saying, once those people are saying, I want to make a move, they were voted out right away afterwards. So while they are being the vocal person, which I normally like to be, I'm going to sit in the back. I'm going to make social connections. So anytime that there's a plan going on, I know about it. And that is exactly how I was able to navigate this game. I was a part of every single plan that happened in this game, to my knowledge. I was a part of every single vote in this game. I never voted incorrectly along with Frank, and I'm the only person in this game to never have a singular vote casted against them. And those social bonds that I was able to make, everybody came to me with every bit of information. The first time that I heard my name actually out there for a vote was at 6. So I don't know who pitched it, if it was Tony or if it was Lizzie as a decoy, but my name was thrown out there, and who came to me and told me? Every single person that was a part of it. So I knew that my name was out there, and I knew I wasn't getting any votes because of it, because every single person came back and told me. I was able to position myself extremely well in this game socially, and was able to be a part of all the strategic moves that happened in this game. In conclusion, because I'm not going to sit here and take forever, with the game that was presented in front of us, if it makes no sense for me to demonstrate those same characteristics that I mentioned beforehand, the opinionated person, being loud, because as soon as people demonstrated the qualities, they were voted off right away. I had to downplay myself in order to understand and adapt to my environment and understand the mechanics that was going on in this specific game that was put in front of us. I successfully adapted to this environment, and I took strategic control with my alliances, and I made social bonds when I knew every single plan that was happening in this game. That is how I outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, awesome job. Thank you. If all 3 finalists want to come back on, we will get right to it, and I will bring on our first juror, which is Zach. I will say you were told to bring a paper and pencil. Does everyone have that handy? Zach, are you ready? There he is.
You know I am.
Okay.
Hey,
Zach,
3. Hey, you 3. First of all, I'm setting the tone. So congratulations to the 3 of you. I mean, no one needs to tell you that this season was long and strenuous and exhausting. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I love all 3 of you dearly, personally, love every single one of you. You're getting Game Zach tonight. So just be aware of that. None of it is personal. It's all game, and I love you all so much. Y'all bitches voted me out before my favorite part of the game, which is touchy subjects. So, and I would like to stand on the grounds of I would have smoked y'all in that challenge. I knew what was going on at pretty much every point. So we're going to play jury touchy subjects. So you have your paper and your pen or your erase board. I'm going to ask you some of these questions. Some of these will be just jury. Some of these will be just final 3, and then some of them will be both. Are you ready? All right, here we go. I'm going to give you like 10 seconds to write down a name so I can get all my time in. Question number 1. This is a jury question. Who played with the most honor? Question is, who played with the most honor? All right. Answer's locked. Put it up in 3, 2, 1. I got Amber, and I got an Amber across the board. Okay, great. Question number 2. Who played the best strategically? This is a jury question as well as a sitting with you right now. Who played the best strategically? So 2 names.
I'm so sorry.
Is it someone
So
here or someone on the jury?
So you are including a name of someone on the jury and a name of the one of the 3 of you. So 2 names. Who played the best strategically? Answers locked in. All right, here we go. Reveal in 3, 2, 1. We've got Hart and Hyrie. We've got Hart and Tony, and we've got Tony and Hart. Okay.
Just for the record, I didn't know we were allowed to vote for ourselves.
Oh yeah, you can vote for yourself. Number 3, who had the best social game? This is, again, a 2-part, both the jury and one of the final 3. Who had the best social game? Locking your answers. And reveal in 3, 2, 1. Hart, you're so nice. Hart and Zach, Frank and Hyrie, Lizzie. And Lizzie wait, what's the other one, Lizzie? Do you have another person? I can't see it. Hyrie. Got it. Question number 4, which vote out benefited you the most? This is clearly just a jury question. Which vote out benefited you the most? Log in those answers. In 3, 2, 1, reveal, please. I've got Max, or is it both me and Max? Max, and Jake. Okay, thank you. Question number 5, who is the least deserving of their jury spot? Locking your answers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I've got Mark, I've got Costa, and I've got Ryan. Nope, not Ryan. Who? Can you?
Jay.
Jay. Thank you. Sorry, Kundi. I'm sure I'm going to hear about that later.
Yes.
Question number 6. Whose vote do you have locked? I had a Freudian slip with the Kundi. Whose vote do you have locked? Answers in 3, 2, 1. Jay, Amber, and Costa. Thank you. Question number 7. Whose vote do you have no chance at? Reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. I've got Amber, I've got Costa, and I've got Costa. Okay. Question number 8. Who wins no matter who they sit next to? This is a jury-only question. Reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. Tony, and Max. Thank you. Question number 9. Day 1. You see the cast reveal, not from your starting tribes, just based on who you see in the cast. Who was your final 3, your ideal final 3? It can be any single person. Jury, who's sitting here with you, and this obviously should, I hope, include yourselves. So 2 people you need to pick. And this can be anyone who is
30
also
seconds, Zach.
not in the game. Okay. All right, you have to give me your answers now so I can rip you apart. I've got Amber, Haley, and Lizzie, Kundi, Jay, and Hart, and
Zach and Ryan.
Zach, Ryan, and Frank. Okay, thank you guys so much. I did touchy subjects first so the jury could get a good read on kind of where your heads are at. I did touchy subjects for a reason. I'm going to tell you right now, and I love all 3 of you so much. My vote's locked. I already know who I'm voting for. I'm going to probably submit my vote immediately upon finishing this. Hart and Frank, I love you both so much. You did such a great job, and for me, it's just not enough. Based on opening speeches. And listen, that doesn't mean that you should not fight. Lizzie, I told you on a call after that vote.
I love this.
Costa, shut up, bro. Lizzie, on a call, I told you that if I couldn't be there with you at the end, I wanted to make sure that you got there. And if I got there, and if you got there and I didn't, I would do everything I could to make sure that you win. I promise you, I will champion you all night. You are, all 3 of you, you're doing a great job. You are doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Like I said, I'm game Zach, not personal Zach. You are all deserving to be there. But I'm just telling you right off the bat, my vote's locked. And Lizzie, I love you. Hart, I love you. Frank, I love you. Keep killing it. And congratulations to all 3 of you, no matter who wins. Love you.
All right. Thank you for that, Zach. Next, we will have Ryan.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm just gonna quickly start by saying I don't agree with like having your vote fully locked before this is just a jab quickly at Zach because you know our relationship. I don't think that you should come into the final tribal with the vote locked. I personally don't have a vote locked. My vote is in the air. Anyways, so good evening, guys. It's so nice to see all of you guys. It's been a long time since I've been voted out, you know, it's on a trip and such. Anyways, I'm just going to point out the obvious that this has to be definitely one of the worst final threes that we, the jury, could have had, at least within the merge. If you just look at the touchy subject, 0 vote finalists, and we're stuck with 3 people that nobody wanted to vote. But not saying we have to. So anyways, it left a huge question mark for me on who is going to get my vote tonight, but it's very open. So anyways, I'll start with Lizzie. So congratulations on making it to the end. We play very similarly, I feel like, except for the fact it seems I'm more villainous than you like, at times. However, I sit here wondering how your game is different from all of your other losing games. You have made it to the final 3 before and playing the same game and had lost that time. I guess my question is, why do you think that a losing gameplay that's lost multiple times should be rewarded? And if I'm wrong, then explain something that you did that was different than your normal play style. I would love to hear it.
I am so happy that you asked that question. Thank you so much. I definitely have evolved as a player. One of my bits used to be that I didn't lie, right? That was like the thing. Oh, Lizzie, she's heroic and she doesn't turn on her allies and she's loyal to the end and she'll go with those people. And that is not the case in this game. I have plotted against, honestly, just everybody I've worked with, except for Nick, to be honest. I have plotted against them and have tried to get them out, knowing that they would be better than me. I know my votes don't reflect it, and I'm sure people are confused, but my votes were always in case of an idle play. That was why. My votes were always an idle play, and I didn't trust other people to make those votes. So I did it because I'm like, well, obviously people want to vote Max. Well, let me throw the vote so I don't go home. You know, like that was kind of like where my logic was with that. But yeah, I was lying to people. I had made deals with people that honestly I broke. I had said that I wanted to go to final 2 with Harry. And I changed my mind because I knew Harry would have wiped the floor and it would have been fucking embarrassing. I didn't pay to be embarrassed. So I set myself up so I can have a winning chance and a fighting chance to play. I have played more villainous this game. That's why I was going, so I do think I played differently. I know I was voted the hero, but that was people's perception, but I was doing shady things underneath it all. I had even been planning Tony's vote off rounds before with Zach. I had been planning Harry's vote off with Jake. I had been planning Jake's vote off with Frank and Hart. Although like I do adore these people, I view it very separately and I was playing to win. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Don't make me tell you to shut up again on the Zoom.
Oh my God,
I'm joking. But thank you for the answer. It cleared up a few of the questions I had. So okay, so Hart, you were playing a Zen game. You know, we talked about that, relax, not really caring what happened, but you do care. You did care what happened. You got paranoid and sometimes would not talk to me or other people who are on the jury. And that's just my perception. I may be wrong. My question for you is just a general question. When did you know your connections were solid enough to make final 3? And how did you make sure it wasn't for the wrong reasons, like being a go or a 0 vote finalist?
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest, though, because I do have diagnosed anxiety. So there are times that I need to separate myself and not talk to people. So if I ever like ignored somebody, it was because I did have a lot of anxiety and I was trying not to like be on a phone and play like that. Because I had to take 8 months off of orgs because I would keep doing that and it wasn't good for my mental health. So if I ever like ignored anybody, that was why, because I genuinely just could not do it. I have to take care of myself before these games. But in terms of like you said, making like deals in terms of like a final 3, was that your question? I'm sorry.
It was like, when did you know your connections were solid enough to make final 3? And how did you make sure it wasn't for the wrong reasons, like being a go or being dragged to the final 3?
So I had a group made at final 9. That was myself, Frank, and Amber. We were called the Scrub Daddies. And I knew that was going to be Scrub Daddies. And I knew that was going to be my group that I wanted to go to the end with, whether it was, I personally didn't see my game as a go game. Other people can see that. I didn't see myself as that though. I just wasn't as vocal as other people. Me and Frank got on calls every day to talk about which vote are we doing. Me and Amber get on calls and talk about, because she was ride or dies with Max, I needed to get her away from Max, which we were able to do that with the Scrub Daddy Alliance. So I was trying to get Amber away from Tony. She wouldn't get away from Tony, had to do that one behind her back. So that was my solidified final 9 to sit with, though, because I do feel within the alliance, though, that was the group that was the strongest for me to go with.
Thank you. Okay, so Frank, you and I started this game together, and I really like your personality. And this is our first game together, and that's not like a mini. So I think you're fun to work with at first. However, I feel like as time went by, it seemed like you just wanted to plot around. Like when we plotted to take out Max, then we never acted on it. Or when we plotted to do something merge and never did it. And it seems like it wasn't just me that you were making these huge plans with and you never followed through. You say that your gameplay is based on relationships. So I guess my main question is, what in this game did you do that you were in charge of your own fate and like what was happening with you? Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be like a huge vote out or a big move. I'm just curious, when there was a time where your game was in your own hands, and what did you do to overcome it?
So I say my game was in my own hands from final 10 on. I took a backseat at 12, and that was a huge mistake for me, taking a backseat that round, because I really didn't want to do Zach that round. I did make those moves. I did vote out Max. I did vote out Tony. I did vote out Zach. I did those things. That's not would I did those. That's proof that I actually did those. And I was the one who was pushing hardest for Zach, because I knew if we took out Max there instead of Zach, because that was also tossed around, that Zach, I would be the next his next target. And that's not good for me. So I took out Zach there. I did throw Max under the bus a couple rounds there after that to separate myself away from Max. And following the Zach vote, I knew Max got some of that information back because he was targeting me. Something that I had to act on right away, because you can't have somebody in the game actively targeting you. I also did that with the Andrew vote. That was pre-merge vote where he was targeting me from 1.0 tribe. So he was tossing my name around on the 3.0 tribe. And I flat out got on the call with all my alliance and said, hey, this is the best move for me, but I will do whatever you guys want. And ultimately, Era was like, you know what? That's a good move. Let's just do it. And that was a good move for me. I took my own life in my hands, and I threw that idea out there, even though it could have been like me stepping on toes, me pushing buttons the wrong way. And because I know Tony really wanted Jay out at that point. So I know saying, hey, let's keep Jay in the game, even though Jay's targeting you, Tony. Let's take out the person that's targeting me, could have been really bad for me. But ultimately it wasn't. I did plot.
A minute for Ryan's time.
Okay. I did plot, but I ultimately acted on all those things I plotted against. I just waited for the right time.
Okay. Thank you guys. I hope these questions kind of let you guys explain your game a little more. At least to me it did, and I hope you guys appreciated that. Like I said, not super villainous. I mean, maybe you'll find out some shady shit that I did after the game, and then we can talk about that then. But good luck to you guys. Like I said, my vote is still open. I'll be watching. And yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Third, we have Queen Peppy Lament. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly.
You did it perfectly and kind of killing it. Hello, bitches. So, congrats on making it there. I don't know if they told you, but I told you to bring some new drinks. So I'm cheersing you guys. You don't have anything. Got two. I know exactly what you're getting, Heart. Appreciate it. You go sharking. We'll get to that in a moment.
Not this time. That's a me and you thing, but I'm just doing a beer.
Okay, cool. I got a drink, but all right. So I'll start off. Y'all know what's coming, or two of you at least. We know that I am the #1 fan of the Julia Rowe fan club, and I am the president. So I like my ego strokes. I'm a narcissistic bitch. I want each of you to compliment me and not make it game related. You guys can go in any order.
I'm so sorry. Can you please repeat that? I wasn't trying to be rude. My niece, I'm babysitting.
No, you're good.
I'm so
I was just
sorry.
saying I want you guys to compliment me, but not on a game level, not related to the game. Just say something you love about me and compliment me, not related to that.
May I go?
You can go first.
Oh,
Sure.
sorry. Okay, so I had never met you before, but this game, I really did enjoy talking with you. I really like that you kind of pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone by moving away from family and friends. I think that's a really hard thing to do, and I don't think I'd be able to do it. I think that's really hard. And I also like that you're pushing yourself to find a new job. Again, like those are things that are, I've been in the same job since like after college, and it's really hard to break out of that comfort zone, and I'm trying to do it, and I want to be like you, and I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
I'll go next. Well, we do have a relationship outside this game, and do not vote for me just because of that. Do not do that. Vote for me because I deserve it, but based on the game. But from a personal standpoint, you're obviously gonna make my Cherry Coke Zero bestie. We'll get on calls randomly. We'll have a Cherry Coke Zero together. And honestly, there'll be times on the weekends where we get drunk and then we'll call each other just to vent about bullshit that's going on in the real world. And honestly, just those kind of relationships there, like they can be sometimes the most ridiculous calls that we've ever had, but they're so meaningful because like you don't meet a lot of close friends in this community sometimes, but it's nice to have those calls where you can just bullshit each other and have a close friend like that there. And you're one of those people for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that we can have major disagreements on Survivor 41, your game, my game, but we never take it personal. We always have a smile. We always have fun talks and criticize each other, but it's never out of malice. And I never take it that way. You never take it that way. And I feel like our relationship can be like that. And that's something unique to us. Like you take it on the chin, I take it on the chin, where a lot of people could take offense to some of the stuff I say, because I'm very vocal and you can be very vocal, but it's all in fun.
Yeah, awesome. So get into this. Let me have to really think about questions here to remember them down. That's why I write them down every single time. But so Lizzie, I think I understand what you did in my vote. I think it was a little bad, but I am really impressed with the way you had to recover from it. I'm curious because we were on the bottom at that point. What specifically did you do to kind of make sure that you recovered from that and got here? Because I thought you were maybe gonna follow me out the door, and I was like, "Oh, Lizzie's next," and you were never next. So I'm impressed by that. I want to know.
Yeah, I just really, well, I kind of sold that I was on the bottom, and like by being stubborn on votes and stuff like that and being okay not voting correctly, I think that kind of helped. And I was always reaching out to people. I was never closing any doors. I reached out to people every single round, even like Amber, who I had voted against several times. Like I was always reaching out and trying and making it seem like I'm an option to work with and that people can work with me moving forward, even despite my stubbornness. And I think that's kind of what carried me through, is me always being like, yes, and yes, and yes, and.
And I'll move on to Frank. So Frank, bro, you know what I hate in the jury. I've heard that you made multiple Final Fours, Final Threes. Can you explain that to me? What was the strategy behind that? You know what I'm going to say.
Well, because Lizzie hosted me before, Tony's hosted me before, and I usually stick to my word. This game, I said, I'm going to stick to the one word that matters, and that's myself. And if I have to burn people, I will. I have fallen on the sword for a lot of people in a lot of these games. I have. For my allies, I've died for a lot of allies in these games. I wasn't planning on dying for anybody this game. I was here for myself. I played the game for myself. Was I a little villainous at times? Did I lie? Absolutely. And if I offended anybody, I apologize, but I will now apologize for any of the moves I made. I made the moves that benefited me to get to this point, to better position myself within the game, and I will never apologize for that. And yeah, I will stand it. Yes, I did. I lied. I made a few Final Fours, Final Threes, and I said yes, absolutely, and I sent them out right afterwards too. So I'm okay that I did that, and I'm willing to face anybody's wrath because of it.
Can you name one that you think was unnecessary, just out of curiosity?
No, I can't really name one, because a lot of the reason why I had to do what I had to do was because of that reward that I had no idea where it was. And so I always had to cover my bases. And for that, I had to say, I swear, I promise, don't worry, but it was all because if they did have that advantage, I wanted to feel comfortable and then send them out with it. So
Fair enough.
if I knew where that advantage was, I probably wouldn't have done some of them, but ultimately I had to because of that.
Fair enough. The jury knows where it was, but I'm sure we'll get to that. Hi, Queen. I'm so proud of you. You know how long I've played these games. I'm curious, how did you navigate not getting a vote? Because it's ridiculous. And then you have me, 16. So like, you have opposite sides of perspective here. How did you, like, what do you think was so crucial that you didn't get a single vote cast against you to start a game?
We have about 30 seconds.
I'll answer this quickly. So I generally do think it was the demerged vote with Zach, because I knew that they are all going for Zach, and I said, first of all, it doesn't make any sense to go for Zach right now. If y'all are afraid of his super idol, it's coming out anyway. So I voted with Zach though, but it opened multiple doors. I started talking with Lizzie more. Jake made an alliance with me, him, and Zach. It opened up so many social connections and strategic connections that I had in the game that I think that's why I didn't get any votes casted against me.
Okay, and fair enough. And like Zach, my vote is pretty much locked in heart. It has nothing to do with the game. You are a great friend of mine, and I appreciate everything you said, but I am so amazed by the fact that you were able to do that, and just the fact that you didn't vote cast against you and hearing your speech and opening options, I think you did play the best game. And I just want to say that my vote is pretty much locked at this point too, and it's nothing. I love you, the other two you both as well.
Okay. Moving on, we will go to Hyrie.
Hello. Okay, so first off, I just want to start by congratulating the three of you. Second, you cannot claim the knowledge that you knew Max and I had an advantage, because that was fake. Max lied about it. I knew only after I got voted out. So it was fun. And so my question is, using your starting elements on your OG tribes and with your interpretation, paint a story for me. How best did you incorporate it as yourselves as a player, and how you use that to navigate yourself to get to the end? Anyone can go first. Take a minute and 30 seconds each.
I'll try to go with. I'm a little confused by the question. But
Do you need an example though?
yeah, will you give me an example, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Say for example, I'm gonna use fire because fire isn't sitting there at the end. So I'm a Leo. Leo's a fire. So an example would be, we can be bold and daring, and sometimes we burn too brightly. That's why I'm sitting in the jury.
Okay. Okay, well, I say one thing that I was Earth. One thing I represented was I was very level to the ground. I never reached up and grabbed any immunity. There was no me jumping up, grabbing these immunities, these advantages. I had to play from the ground while other people were obviously jumping up and getting off the ground. I was not. But I was very hard-headed at points where I really wanted things and I really had to put in a little extra effort into it. But I went into every scramble period, already knew what I was doing for the night. There was never one scramble period where I was like, it has to change. Every vote out, everything that happened, I was grounded to the floor and I already knew what I was doing. I pretended like we were discussing things with some people, but the vote out was already planned hours before we ever got to the scramble period. So I was very level to the ground with that. I was with my people. We figured out a plan. I didn't change the plan. I didn't play random there. We had the plan set in stone hours beforehand, every vote out, every single one throughout this whole game.
I can go next. So I was water, and there are certain times where everyone just likes going into the water, into the ocean, in the pool, whatever, and it's just nice to be around, you know. But then there's other times where there's a huge ass splash that comes down, and was me in this game. Like, I had to be there. I had to like kind of chill out for a bit because I didn't want to get too anxiety prone. I didn't want to like get big move-itis, like I said in my opening speech. But when I needed to make the big splash, I made the big splash. And I explained when it was time to take out Max, I had to take out Max. That was a big splash. When it was time to take out Tony, as much as I hated doing it, it crushed my soul, and I shed a couple tears doing it. Not couldn't have to kiss your ass either, Tony. I made the big splash for that. That was how I attributed the winner.
Okay, I was air. And I am an Aquarius, so I am an air sign. And I think something about air is like air is kind of like fluid and we think differently. We're not afraid. We have our heads in the clouds. And I truly did. Every day driving to work, I would talk to myself, strategy every single day. I'd say, ooh, what would happen if I vote this person? What would happen if I did this person? And my mind was always changing, very contrasting to Frank. I was always changing my mind, adapting to different things. Oh, this person's making a big scene now. Well, I can't go with them anymore. Sorry, Harry. That was, like, oh, this person's doing this. I was always changing and adapting and thinking, I think differently than just about everyone. I think that I was looking at things in a different way. I was thinking, okay, well, if someone plays an idol, I want to have this vote down, or if I want to do this so that I seem like I'm in this position, or if I do this, I wasn't doing the most obvious, I think. And I think that that's what got me here, because of that like creativity, that free spirit, that kind of like going with the wind, but at the same time, being the wind, being the direction at the same time.
All right. Thank you for your answers. Before I go, I just want to say y'all did an amazing job of taking me out. I did not see it coming. I actually psyched myself out because I wrote Frank's name down. Had I wrote Jake's name down, it would have been a different story. So that was good. And I don't harbor any ill feelings, and good luck to the three of you.
Okay, thank you, Irie. Next, we will bring on Max.
Hi. All right. I guess we'll start this off with a little bit of a different vibe. Bad luck to the three of you. I hope none of you win. I don't think any of you deserve to be there. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. So let's go with Hart to begin with. Hart, I want to make you aware to start with. You are definitely not the front runner tonight. You're at the bottom of the pack right now with pretty much everybody. So what you need to do is kind of separate your game from the other two, because saying that you rode the middle, like everyone knows that you were riding the middle. You had great social relationships, everyone knows that, but it didn't feel like you used that middle riding to actually have any agency to make any kind of decisions in the game. Is there any example you can give me where you actually did something that, say, like Frank isn't the one who was the main person behind it? Because it looked like Frank was the main strategic driving force, and kind of feel like Lizzie had better relationships with the other side. She lied when she needed to, and it felt like you just didn't really do much. So can you clarify that?
Yeah, and I don't think that's true at all. Whenever with Tony's vote off, that was Frank wanted to do it the round before. I said, no, we cannot do this now. I was the one who called Frank the day before, and I said, we got to take out Tony now. This is the time to do it. That was my move. And then Lizzie and Jake decided to say, like, we want to do that too. But that was my move right there. And I will claim that till I'm dead in the grave. That was my move right there. And I think that was the move that got me to sit here.
Well, I just want to say, do you think you can really claim Tony as a move though? Because I mean, everyone wanted Tony gone at that point, right? Like, I feel like Lizzie and Frank will both be able to say that they didn't want to sit next to Tony, right? Like, the obvious move for everybody at Final Six is to get rid of Tony. It seemed crazy for anyone to do anything other than vote out Tony at that point. I kind of mean, is there any time where you felt like you led things when it wasn't like the obvious thing for everybody? When was there a time that you did something that was like just for you?
Hyrie. And with the Hyrie vote specifically, so me, Amber, and Hyrie had a 3-person alliance. We called it Horrorland because we all like horror movies. And Amber was debating at that point whether she wanted to go with me, her, and Frank to the end, or whether she wanted to go with me, her, and Hyrie. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to sit with me, her, and Frank at the end. So I had to convince her Hyrie is being messy. And I had to continuously get with her one-on-one and convince her of that. And when that was eventually able to happen, though, we were able to get the split vote on Jake and Hyrie. So that specifically there to make sure that Amber was with us when that happened, that was me as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Lizzie, I'll hop in with you next. Now, Lizzie, you said that you played this game differently, and I will attest that you played it differently with me to an extent. But I came into the merge thinking, hey, Lizzie, she works with the people she starts with. It's really hard to get Lizzie to work with you if you didn't end up on a tribe with her at some point. She's pretty rigid. And honestly, that was pretty true for me. Like, I tried with you, Lizzie. I really did. I thought maybe we could have something this game. And honestly, if it wasn't for our previous history, it felt like maybe we would have, but I just never got anywhere with you. The closest I got to actually having a strategic conversation with you, where it didn't feel like it was me just telling you stuff, was the day that you voted me out. So it didn't really feel like you were actually really open or fluid. I don't know if that was just with me, but from my perspective, the only real difference that I saw in your game than your usual is that you're willing to lie to my face, which fantastic. I love that. Bring me more of that, Lizzie. But apart from that, I didn't really see your willingness to actually go against your people. As much as you say you were plotting in the background and stuff, it didn't really look like it from my perspective.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that. I think prime example is Frank right here. Frank and I had a good relationship throughout the entire merge. Like from day one of merge, we talked and we're like, we might not vote together, but we'll still watch each other and have each other's backs. And we both exchanged information throughout the merge. And we were able to make we didn't make a final agreement, but we did make an agreement to go far in the game. And I did have a three chat with Hart and Frank as well. And I had a chat with Frank and Jake. So like I was making those connections with Frank. To be frank, Max, there were a couple things that you had said that had rubbed me a little the wrong way, which is why I wasn't. You know me, I'm a strong woman who feels very proud of herself. You know how I am. I feel very high. I think highly of myself. And there was that one point where you did say, well, Lizzie, I am in the majority for my 3.0 tribe and you're in the minority. And that rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Whereas Frank was more, a little more tactful. And, and I was willing to work with other people. And I had even approached Jay about working with Jay and was genuine in that. I voted out Jay the next round because I needed Tony to be on board and Tony was on board kind of thing. And I had reached out to Amber multiple times. I tried to get her to vote you off. I did. I tried to get her to do that. Without Frank, I was like, you need to make a move without Frank and vote off Max. And she wouldn't do it. So I was trying to not with you. And you were the big dog, and I knew I couldn't win against you.
So I guess my question is, why should I specifically vote for you then? Because I don't think I was playing that good of a game. I think right after the touchy subjects, it was pretty clear that I wasn't really a big threat to win. So why choose me after other people instead then?
Yeah. Well, I disagree. I think that you were a threat to win. I think that people, truthfully, this is going to sound really mean and I don't mean it to. I think people were villainizing you so that they felt better about targeting you, to be honest, because you weren't really given a chance. So I think if people were like, he's this pushy person, he gets mad when he doesn't get his way, I think that makes it easier for people to turn on you and to feel better about themselves in the end of the day. I still think that had you gone to the end, I still think you would have won. I believe that. I answered you in that touchy subjects question that Zach asked. I believe that you were the big dog and the main threat in this game. I think you should vote me because I have evolved and I managed to trick you. And I think that you respect game. I think that you do. I think that that's how you vote. I don't think you're going to vote for me because we're friends. I didn't think that I had your vote on lock. I think that if you do vote for me, it's because you're going to respect the journey that I've went through multiple games and through this game, and you're going to respect how I played. And that's why you should vote for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, that is true. And honestly, I came into this not sure where I was voting, and I'm still not sure. Which brings me to Frank, because Frank, I came into tonight
One more minute.
really thinking that I wanted to vote for you. I thought that you were the one who played the best game from my perspective. You wanted me and Tony to go at each other the same way as I wanted you and Tony to go at each other, and you came out on top. You got me, Zach, Tony, the perceived biggest threats, and seemed to me that you were the driving force behind it. You came into this final tribal speech saying that your game was all about relationships and stuff, though, and if you're going to say that, I give it to Hart over you. I feel like Hart had better relationships than you. So I want to see for the rest of this final tribal council that you actually play more into your strengths, which I don't think was your relationships. I think it was your strategic game. And if you're not going to claim that, then I can't give you my vote. So I need you to kind of lean a bit more into that if you want to have any chance of getting my vote. Because I really don't think your relationships were that strong. I think they were strong enough, but not compared to the other people sitting next to you. So I think you should reassess a little bit where you're going, because it's going to be a tough fight for you to win at the moment. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Max. Our next two jurors have pre-submitted a question as they are busy, so I will just ask them and give each of you an opportunity to respond. So the first question is from Mark, and I'm sorry, the first question is from Jake, and it reads, what percentage of your game was luck and what percentage was skill?
I will go first. I'll say 25% luck, because you have to get lucky in these games. Like, you can't just sit at the end and not get lucky. And 75% skill.
I would say 10% luck, 90% skill. I think that all the plans that I came up with throughout the game, I had backup plans. We had backup plans, Hart, and ultimately, no matter who won immunity, we had a backup plan, and I had a backup option. So I'd say 10%, because some of the things, obviously, you got to get lucky to get there. But the other 90%, I had split book plans, I had backup plans, and I had the right tool to get me here. So I think it was 90% skill.
I think it's like 20% luck probably and 80% skill. I think 20% because it's like, who do you get on a tribe with, right? Like that's a big thing. Like, who do you split with? I think that's really big. I think those were all luck based, but I think the rest of it was skill. I really think that I was able to make those connections with people, and that's how I kind of kept my name off the board for several rounds. And then even when my name was out there, it wasn't the vote, it was the other vote, right? And then even at the end, they didn't want me here. Frank and Hart didn't want me here. They wanted Amber. They had a final three with Amber. And I fought my way in that final fire making. I got here because of me, not because of anyone else. No one brought me here. So I'd say that's skill.
All right, thank you. And so then I will go to Mark's question, which I'll give you a moment to think about this, but remember, I am going to time it at 6 minutes, so just try to answer quickly. Please describe each jury member as a salad ingredient and why. For example, Ryan is like a tomato, slimy like his gameplay, and full of seed.
I don't eat salad, so this is gonna be really tough for me to answer, but I'll give it a go.
I'm gonna take some notes while he does that.
Frank, are you volunteering to go first?
No. I don't even know what goes on a salad, really. Let's go with I don't know. I don't eat salads, man. I tried it once. It was enough for me.
Have you ever looked at a menu with a salad?
No, I skipped that portion. It says salad, I skipped that section. Okay. I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I can't. It's probably looking real bad at me, but I have really no idea.
All right, I'm going to give 30 seconds and then I'm going to call on one of you. Unless we don't get a volunteer.
Listen, I'm a chunky lady. I also do not eat salad. Um, okay, I have something.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So Amber is a red pepper because she got red hair, and she adds a little bit of flavor, but doesn't really have that strong with it. She's salad. She's salad gal. Jake's a crouton because he's hard headed. He's stubborn like a crouton. But you know what? Tastes good. Add some flavor. Tony's a cucumber because I feel like cucumbers are strong. They're sturdy. Hyrie is lettuce because lettuce is a staple to the salad and everyone likes Hyrie, so Hyrie is lettuce. Max is tomato because he's controversial. Some people love tomatoes, some people don't like tomatoes. I love tomatoes. I'm a tomato girl. I be eating them all the time. Zach is cheese because cheese makes everything better. Zach, when he talks, he makes everything better. I like Zach. He's very comforting. Ryan, of course, is chili pepper because he's spicy and likes to spice shit up. Jay, I think Jay is onion. Jay's got a lot of layers. I'm still figuring out Jay. Jay's really interesting. I want to get to know Jay more. Costa is the dressing because depending on Costa's mood, I always thought Costa was a very level-headed person. Then he went off when he got voted off. I was like, okay, different kind of dressing that day. And Mark, you know what? Mark is baby spinach. It's another type, of greens, very, earthy. Basis of a salad, and I like baby spinach. Put some ranch dressing on that shit. That's delicious. Thank you.
All right, Art.
All right, with the salad question. All right. Costa's the egg. Sometimes in a little chef salad, you put egg in there. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. It's just not everyone's cup of tea, but if you have it, it's great. Mark and Ryan are the vinaigrette, personally, because you can have different flavors there, and whatever flavor comes out, it's really good. Jay and Jake are the peppers. They had some spice, and I loved getting on calls with them and hearing their spice. Zach is the croutons, hard-headed, because as soon as he had those votes against him, he just wanted to get Mount Max, he wanted to get out Frank, he wanted to get out Ryan. That was his goals. He was very hard-headed with that. Max is the carrots, just very, 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 very long, because I know how tall he is, and I cannot wait to meet you in Dallas. Hyrie is the lettuce, because you have to have a little bit of Hyrie in your life. You can't have a salad without lettuce. Tony is the chicken. I like a good meat in my salad, so I'm giving that to Tony because I love Tony so much. He was great to get to know in this game. First time ever playing with him. And then Amber is the black olive. Some people don't like black olives in their salad. Some people can go without it. I love them.
All right.
So hard.
Frank.
Look, you guys are all fantastic. I will do my best here. Tony, you're the lettuce because everyone loves Tony, and that's start your lettuce with that. Start your career with Tony. Let's go with Ryan's definitely the pepper. He's very spicy. I love Ryan. I love peppers. Oh, I used to love peppers. Not anymore. Zach is cheese. Everyone loves cheese. Everyone loves Zach. Hyrie is the spinach. He is not everyone's option, but the people who love spinach love spinach. Mark. Mark is almonds. He has a little crunch to him. Once you get past that little exterior, it just takes some time to get to know Mark. But once you do, I got on a few calls with him. He was great. Costa, he's the house dressing. You don't know what it is, but it's something. That's for sure. Amber is she's the house salad. She's amazing. I love Amber. I'll say nothing bad about Amber. Max is a black olive, very bold. He's very stands out. He's you taste the olive, you know what you're tasting, and that's what you get with Max. Who else am I missing? Oh, Jay. Jay is vinaigrette. He's very bright. They are very bright. My apologies. I think I hit everybody. Did I miss somebody? I think I hit everybody. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
And that is perfectly on 6 minutes. Thank you for your lovely salads, everyone. We will move on and go to Tony.
Hey y'all.
I'm sorry, but I did not expect me to enjoy that question as much as I did. I was like laughing out loud at y'all's answers. So that was great. I just want to start off by saying I got in the jury and they all basically, as people were being voted out, as Jake got voted out, as Amber got voted out, oh, you just got done with the Icons final three. It was so bad. This final three is just as bad as that one. I'll be honest with you. I love all three of y'all, and I think all three of you played really, really well. So like, I'm sitting here. I don't know who the fuck to vote for. I think all three of y'all played really well, and I'm having a really hard time deciding who it is. And so I'm sitting here listening, and I don't have much to ask, but I'm just still trying to figure out what game I think is the best game between the three of you, because I feel like I played so closely with all three of you. And that's probably why I got sixth place, because that probably is pretty threatening, I guess. But okay, so I guess I'll start off. I will ask like Frank. So you, how do I say this? What made me more of a threat in this game than you? What did we do differently that I was more threatening than you in your eyes?
You excelled at certain things that scared people. Like when you did that challenge, that was very frightening. You were up here where Max came in second, down here. That's something that I did. I didn't throw every challenge, but there were some challenges where I was like, I have no business in winning. Like touchy subjects, I just threw stuff up there. I didn't care to win or lose. I just wanted to try to play the best PC. So I gave myself a couple bad answers. I was like, oh well, I got that wrong. Because I didn't want a reason to be targeted. I made other people win and made other people become targets. I made sure targets were ahead of me. And I did that within our alliance. With our yellow tribe alliance, I had alliance smaller than that with you in it, with the 4. And with that, I had a 3 alliance within that 4 as well. I insulated myself with that and my other side with Lizzie. I think coming to Lizzie and saying, hey, let's not promise each other anything. Let's just promise we'll keep each other's backs and we'll just make sure we're not the vote. That was one of the biggest things I did throughout this season, because when Max was ready to make the move, who did he go to? He went to the other side to try to make a move against me, but I already covered my bases with that 4 votes before that. So my ass was already covered, and you were on that call with Lizzie, which Lizzie told me. You didn't come tell me Max was throwing my name out there. Lizzie did. And that was because of the relationship I did. I kept myself, had people targeted above me, made sure I was aligned with those people, and then took them out at the right time. And I think that's where I think you should have kept Max or Hyrie a round or two longer instead of cutting in what you did. I was very nervous about bringing up Hyrie because I was like, that's like the last threat before Tony. So maybe he won't want to do it. But you were like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, perfect. This is perfect. Yeah. It goes Hyrie, then Tony. And I will give Hart credit that I originally wanted to do you at 7, but I did switch it. We did switch it there. The original plan was to do you at 7 and Hyrie at 6, but we did switch the plans up to do it the opposite because we figured we could use your advantage to help with that. But I'll disagree on Hart. He didn't push those votes. I got in calls with you. I pushed those votes with you. I pushed those votes with Amber. I had Lizzie and Jake ready to do Hyrie as well. So even if Hart couldn't get Amber, I had numbers to do it. So I had numbers everywhere.
Yeah, I got you. No, all that adds up. I think all of that adds up. I think I had strategic conversations with you. I had them with Hart. I had them with Lizzie. I had them with all people talking names. So, and as far as like my vote out, I think it was gonna happen. Like I don't know why I thought that R4 was so solid. I know you might have found this out, but at 6, when I got voted out, I told Lizzie or Jake this. I was like, if one of y'all don't win immunity, I told Jake, I said, don't win immunity, because I wanted y'all to split the vote with me and Amber, Hart, and Frank, and I was going to vote 3-2-1 on Frank or Hart. That was my honest plan going into 6. So like y'all, I just waited too long to flip. I think. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I just waited too long, and like you said, I probably should have kept Max or Hyrie and all them. And on the Zach vote, I know at least you know this, Hart. I mean, I wanted the 4-3-2 on Hyrie that vote, but
yeah, same.
And I told you, yeah.
Tony.
Oh my gosh, I got Jake's time. Remember? Okay, so I'll skip that because that's kind of irrelevant. I just like to talk. Hart. Okay, let me touch on this real quick. So you said something about sitting in the back and like letting other people do things, but now you're here at the final 3, and there's 2 other people here. Like, what there's a problem with sitting in the back throughout the game because now you're sitting here. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy. You know what I'm asking.
So like if I worded it like that, that's my fault. I don't think I sat in the back and let other people did things. I think I sat in the back though, and I pitched my plans and then let other people be more vocal about it. Does it look like their plan? Absolutely. But I'm sitting there and I'm creating the plans. I'm creating the chaos that's about to start. And Frank can say that he went to you and said this plan. I went to you too and said that plan. He can't just claim that for himself. We all did the same thing. We were all on one-on-one calls with each other doing that. So with the Hyrie vote and with your vote, that was me starting that. So although like it may look that I'm sitting in the back though, is it really sitting in the back when you're the one who created the plan?
Yeah.
You just might not be the loudest voice in the room pitching it.
Yeah, I got you. Let me all right, I'm gonna go Lizzie real quick before we run out of time. Lizzie, I want to say, like, you know this, and I think a couple other people in the game I've told, at least the jury. I don't know why this is such a big deal to me, but you not telling me your avatar piece was like still one of the coolest things I thought throughout the game. I don't know why that's such a big deal to me. I also thought it was cool as fuck late in the game. You told me straight to my face in my call, I was like, I don't think you're playing that good of a game. And like that changed my whole like perspective. It made me think, okay, well, maybe Lizzie's going to the end with me. And like that was a big part of why I didn't flip earlier, because I thought if Frank and Hart wanted to flip, it's like, okay, well, maybe Lizzie has my back enough that she wouldn't even flip with them, kind of like Amber wouldn't. So that was kind of my thought process going into it at 6. And you did flip. And like I'm sitting here, still have no idea who I'm voting. And I just want to basically say that all three of y'all played an incredible game. And I'm sorry for the two I don't vote for because it's going to suck, but I got to vote for only one person. So I'm going to try to vote who I think played the best game. But I still think all three of you played great.
Can I just add, I also told you to play your safety without power on yourself so I could earn your trust to vote you off the next round as well.
Yeah, which was awesome. You were the only person who did that too. Everybody else was like, play it on Hyrie, do something for the alliance. And you were like, no, fuck that. Do that shit for yourself. Save yourself. Thought that was cool. So I'll shut up now and pass the torch on to, I think it's two more Jersey. But yeah, great job, y'all. I'll be listening. Love you, buddy.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, we will go to Costa.
Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Remember me? Hi guys. It's been a while. Yeah, this is weird for me because you know, I went out at 14, so to be in the grand scheme of, I really don't know what the fuck happened after I went. So I have carefully curated questions for each of you. So Frank, I'm going to start with you, my friend. My first question is, and I kind of want this to be like college dorm, like you know, first day meeting thing. So I just want you, for me and for everyone watching, could you please just introduce yourself? Give me one fun fact about who you are, and your favorite color, please.
Okay, my name is Frank Pacino. I am 31 years old. Fun fact about me, I've been married for 9 years now. I have 2 kids, and I'm just as big as a child as I was when I got married.
All right, cool. That's great. I think that's probably the most that I have learned about you this entire time. So it's nice to, you know, have a conversation. Anyway, all right. So the word of the night is meat ride tonight, and so this is the question is kind of it's intertwined between you and Hart, but I want the answer from you because I have a different question for Hart. Frank, there's been a lot of deliberation on, you know, how critically involved you were in making the move. So I just want to know, can you justify to me that you and Hart didn't just meet ride people like Tony and Max and Hyrie to get here?
Oh, absolutely. Because I voted them out. They weren't riding those rides. I rode those rides. I directed those rides. They weren't on those rides. They're in the jury because I directed those votes. So I didn't ride nobody's coattails. I didn't ride the Zach vote. I was the one who was pushed that. I had the conversations like at work at 9 in the morning. I had a call with somebody making this plan. The max vote I pushed really hard for, which I did with Lizzie. Lizzie was there. She had me and her had the conversation. The Tony move. We were planning around Amber having the steal vote, which we thought expired at 6, but really expired at 7. So once we figured that out, it made things a little bit simpler for us the way to split it. But I didn't ride nobody's coattails. I directed my plan. I went into my confessional at Final 10, mapped out every boot order from Final 10 on, and only 2 rounds were different. And that's the Hyrie and Tony round, and then the Final 4 round, because we didn't know it was going to be fire. I mean, you can believe it or not, the hosts know. They could tell you guys afterwards, but I can guarantee you I didn't ride nobody's coattails.
Well, I'm glad, because it is getting cold now, and coats are very important to have. So thank you for your answer. Hart, we'll move on to you. I came at you a little hot when we went out. I just want to clarify. I actually really like bald heads. So let's just, before.
I'm not bald though. I'm just saying I have hair, but, and like I said, I don't know if you heard me going out, but it goes by your mom's dad. My mom's dad was bald by 19. I'm 31, so I'm doing fucking fantastic. So I just want to point that out. So.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Anyway, all right. My question for you, and there was, I am a little bit bitter for a different reason. I approached you when we had first merged, and I tried to initiate a conversation with you. And for me to hear from Ryan basically at the same time that you basically took me approaching you and trying to do it in a way that wasn't just, hi, my name's Casa, nice to meet you, and try to, be not a fucking robot. For me to then hear that you're telling him that like, oh, who the fuck is this guy in my fucking, that just it fucking sucks. So to hear that, it pissed me off. And the thing that really pissed me off is after absolutely meat riding the fuck out of you, trying to build a connection with you and the Tonester, to get to that day where we had the tribal, and for you to tell me that you were too busy and that you couldn't hop on a call, when I'm now hearing that you hopped on a call with Frank every single day, it pisses me off. So
I'd like to clarify that if I can.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So I will be honest though, and if it hurt your feelings, I apologize. But I do, like I said, I've made my way around these damn orgs. I'm a fucking whore when it comes to orgs. I've made my way around all of them. So I do hate when people come up to me and say, oh my God, it's the org legend Hart. It does get to me, and it's like, oh shit, that's what I'm trying to avoid in this game. I don't want people to target me just because of that. So it made me think, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna target me at some point because I'm a big threat. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Whether that was true or not, that was my perception. Now, when it came to your vote off though, I will be honest though, I will say it was half and half. Half of it was I genuinely was exhausted from work. And when I have those days, I just I need to take some time to myself. Half of it was your name was already out there and I didn't want to sit there and bullshit to your face. However, though, the main reason why I started pushing your name even more, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that you and Hyrie were trying to get a group together to vote out Mark. Mark was in my majority alliance. I'm not sure if that was true or not. That's what Hyrie came to me and told me. I'm not sure if that was true or not. But if that was true, Hyrie was in, or Mark was in my 6-person alliance. I could not have that happen. I needed to make sure that I maintained majority moving forward in the game. So I had to make sure I went to my line and said, y'all, we still need to stick with Costa. We still need to stick with Costa. And the only reason I didn't push Hyrie there, he had immunity. So in order for my plan to be as strong as it could be, I had to take away the person who was trying to break that up. So if that was true, that would have been you.
All right. That's interesting. That is actually very eye-opening because Hyrie was the one that threw Mark out to me, and I had no interest in doing Mark. But anyway, Mark can make his own decisions and screw over the other 7 jurors that are here. But anyway, Lizzie, we'll move to you. It's on a positive note here. You wrote down on that piece of paper that the person that was guaranteed to vote for you was me. That is true. I have come into this extremely bitter, not happy at all, and I fully own that. I still think I went out in a bullshit way, and it's okay. It is what it is. However, I just want to say I'm so happy that you got here because honestly, had the final 3 been some combination of Hart, Frank, and Jake, I don't really know. I would have probably randomized my vote. So I am so happy that you're sitting here. You definitely have my vote. I love you. Thank you for being genuine and taking the actual time to get to know me because I appreciate that more than anything else. So it was an absolute pleasure to play with you. You've definitely got my vote. I don't know where the fuck half of these people are. There's a lot of weird shit going on in this fucking jury chat. But if there's one thing that I can leave everybody here with, and I want everybody to listen close, so if you want to turn your volume up.
Now's the time. Amanda. Oh, it's not working, is it? No, it's not working. No, that's the faces of all. Amanda, it's not working. Okay, well, we tried. Amanda.
It's working,
when...
Asta. Just fine.
Oh, it is. Okay, good. Hold on, wait. Let me just get nice and close here. Hold on. Let me just. Oh, okay, right there. Yeah, can you see me? Amanda, Lynn, Brian. Hold on.
Okay, I think Pasta is finished. So with that, we will go to our last juror, which is Amber.
What's up, everybody? I got home from work just in time, so here we are. All right, so first off, congratulations to all of you for making Final Three. Very proud of all of you. You guys played some great games, and I'm so proud of that for you guys. And yeah, so here we are. This is like, I'm sorry, this is one of my first FTCs, so like, I'm gonna do my best here and like asking these questions because it's gonna be a little different. This is just gonna be a majority question, so you guys can all just go like whenever anyone wants to go first. So my question is, in this game, I know that a lot of people talked about like big moves and the fact that what kind of big moves were you involved in? And I want to know, like, personally, in your perspective, like, what was the big move for you? Like, what did you do to be in on these specific votes? And I want like honesty in that, and not like it went somewhere else and this person did it, or maybe it was Frank, maybe it was Hart, maybe it was Lizzie. Like, I want to know, besides the strategy behind, what the big move was that gave your game.
Go first. Okay. So like I said, mine were the two. I've already hit on the one, which was the demerge vote, being able to position myself there. But I will say though, I do think, because we had a talk though, and you were you really close to Hyrie during the game. And then we made a 3-person chat. Like, we mainly talked about horror movies, but we had a 3-person chat though. And you told me that I'm debating on sitting here though, because I don't know if I can trust Frank all the way. You trusted Frank, but you didn't know if you trusted him all the way. You didn't know if we wanted to go with Hyrie. I had to work on you to make sure that you knew that Frank was going to be more trustworthy than Hyrie was. And it was a process though, because you really did love Hyrie though. And I think that was my move, because without you there, we couldn't have done it. So that was my move in the game, was socially working on you and strategically working on you to get you to understand that we needed to get rid of Hyrie there. So at 6, there's 4 of us from our majority alliance though, and then we can take the shot at Tony after that.
Okay.
So, okay. So I won't focus on the big moves I keep saying I pushed and whatever like that. I think the subtle moves where I did make deals with Lizzie before we had any promises, just to keep things off my back. That what to me was what kept me safe in the middle of the merge, where people started targeting each other with me and Max, me and Zach, stuff like that, where I had somebody on the other side where if they were going to flip, they needed Lizzie, and Lizzie ultimately protected me. That's something that helped me stay in the game and helped me do those moves that I was able to pull off. Ultimately, my something else is just like positioning myself. I don't think I talked about how I positioned myself throughout the game, but I took out Zach and Max right there, where 2 people were actively coming for me. And at that point, I just had to worry about Tony, because I knew Tony was going to make a move eventually on me. But at Final 5, I felt like my Final 3 seat was already locked in. I had Jake wanting to go with me. I had Hart wanting to go with me. I had you wanting to go with me. I had Lizzie wanting to go with me. So my Final 3 was my seat was already written down, and that's something I did. That was the big move. I positioned myself in the best place to get to here. And I felt like I got here 2 rounds ago because of my positioning. And that's, to me, a big move.
I think my big move is not necessarily moves, but like relationships that allowed moves to happen like more undetected. I think that's what I provided. I think that starting off with Max again, being able to kind of like talk to him to his face and say, yep, no, the plan's Frank. If he had an idol, I don't know who has that idol. I'm going to be quite honest. I think it's Max. That's what I'm going with the assumption, and that Max went home with it. But either way, because of that, he believed that Frank was going home. Again, that close relationship with Hyrie trusted me, and it's crazy. And then again, Tony, same thing, because I told him, play that safety, that power on yourself, do that stuff. So Tony thought he was really good with me. Jake thought he was really good with me because I played that half idol on him. But he wasn't the first person I told about that half idol. He was like number 5 or something. Because of that, people didn't expect me to turn on them or to be part of their vote offs. They trusted me wholeheartedly, which I still think is ludicrous, because I'd vote off the other person and they'd still be like, Lizzie, I trust you. I feel at home with you. So I think that that's like my big move. And I think winning the Agni Kai against you. Frank argues that everybody wanted him at the end. Yeah, that's true. Everybody did want him, but no one wanted me. Amber, I bet you didn't want to sit next to me. Frank didn't want to sit next to me. Hart didn't want to sit next to me. You guys wanted a final 3. Jake voted me out and tried to get the votes against me before he left. No one wanted to sit next to me, but I got myself here. That's my move.
Well, I appreciate all of you. And again, great games, guys. I wish I made it to the end, but I'm here. But my vote's still up in the air. Like you said, Lizzie, like I saw that you put down that like I wouldn't vote for you in the end in this. But my vote is still kind of up in the air at this current moment. Like, I respect all of you and all of your games and everything that you have done. So good luck, guys. Great job.
Okay, thank you so much, Amber. And with that, we've concluded the jury portion. So for the ending, we will go into you have up to 3 minutes to give final speeches, closing remarks, anything that you want to touch on from the stuff that the jurors said, ways to sum it up. And we're going to go in the reverse order of opening speeches. So I believe that'll be Hart, then Lizzie, then Frank. So starting with Hart, whenever you're ready.
Amber, go off camera. She ain't listening to me. Anywho, all right. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about the moves that I've been talking about the entire time. I'm not going to sit here and waste everyone's time. What I'm going to ask everyone to do is really look at this game holistically and just think throughout the entire duration of this game, what has happened? Who has been in control? Now, I understand where people are coming from. Where it's like, oh, Hart, you said you played behind the scenes. How can we respect that? Look at the jury members who went out back to back to back. The most vocal people there. It's not a smart game move for me to do the exact same thing that everyone is getting voted out for. I need to play a little bit behind the scenes in order to make sure that my ass is sitting here. My goal was to get to FTC, and I was going to try to pitch my case no matter what I had to do. So I understand where everyone's mindsets are. I respect everyone's mindsets, and I'm going to be close with every single person outside of this game. But I'm asking you guys to look at that. Look at the mechanics of how this game worked out. Do I need to be the loudest voice in the room to be running the game? Do I need to be the most opinionated person to be in charge of exactly what's happening? Let me be behind the scenes. Let me be the first person to pitch a plan. And then if Frank's going to go talk to this person, this person, this person, this person, and then they all come running back to me saying, hey, are you down to do this? That's what I'm saying. That's how I control this game personally. That is exactly why I believe that I should be the sole survivor here. And I'm just leaving it at that. But I respect every single one of you, no matter what you guys do, and I love you all. Thank you.
Okay, Lizzie?
Hey guys, first of all, I want to say again, thank you for a great season. Thank you, hosts. All those thank yous. Thank you, jury, for great questions. And honestly, I think that the questions actually allowed me to really speak on my game, which I'm really thankful for. So thank you guys for giving that opportunity. If I say thank you one more time, take a fucking shot. Anyways, I shouldn't be here. I should not be here telling you my story. Rounds ago on call with Max, he was like, "You're literally the last freaking airbender. The show's named after you." And I was like, this motherfucker's stealing my jury speech. And yet loss after loss, my number one quits, leaves me high and dry. I waste my half idol. I lose the starting merge vote, and I just kept fucking going because I'm stubborn as hell and I don't give up, and I never did. I shouldn't be here. Hart didn't want to sit next to me. Frank didn't want to sit next to me. Amber didn't want to sit next to me. Jake didn't want to sit next to me. All those people didn't want me here. And I fought my way here. I'm definitely well representing, I think, the avatar, because again, I created that harmony. I created peace amongst people. I tried my best to create great relationships with people that carried me here. That's why I'm here, is because I made good individual relationships. For me, this wasn't a game of strong alliances for me. I know that that's how they rolled. I rolled with individual relationships. That's why I'm here. I was able to connect the physical and spiritual. I'm an emotional, passionate person. I cared about this game. I wanted to win. And I said day one, I'm going to win. I'm going to get there. I'm going to do my damnedest. And I'm here. I went to fucking war. I voted off people that I was working with. I voted off people and slimier ways than I'm used to. I went to war. I went to bat. I went to fight. And now I'm ready, please, to represent the season and to be your sole survivor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Frank, take us home.
Okay. Thanks again to the cast and the host. I had a fun time playing, but I just wanted to say I feel like I dominated this season strategically, socially. I felt like I had my hands in every vote besides the split vote. I was able to pick up the pieces from that mistake and was able to push towards the end game, put myself in the best position to get here tonight. And Lizzie keeps saying that I did not want her here. Yes, I would want to Amber, but I don't care that she's here. I think I played a better game than her. She was lost on the Zach vote. She came to me with plans that I already had plans hours ago. To me, I'm okay with sitting with Lizzie. I felt like I was the Batman and to Hart was my Robin. I feel like I played the game to win, and I hope you guys reward me to represent the season as a strong player, somebody who controlled the strategic aspect of this game and was able to get out people who are actively targeting me throughout the entire game to better position myself within the game. So I think I played the best game, didn't need immunities, didn't need advantages. I just need myself, my social skills, my strategic mind, and I was able to mark off a path where I got here today. So please respect my game. Please give me your vote. I feel like I'd be an awesome representative for the season. But thank you guys, and I look forward to hear from you guys.
Okay. Thank you, jury. Thank you, final three. You can all come back on really quickly. Final three, not everyone on jury, please. But with that, we have concluded our final tribal. We do vote readings the same night as final tribal. So we are giving the jury a deadline, hopefully within about 30 minutes. They will all have submitted their votes. We will notify you guys, viewers will notify you as well when we're going to come back on and go live for the reading of the votes. But for right now, we will say goodbye to Facebook and good luck to all three of you.
Bye, guys.